and the middle picture is the battery, and on the right side is the inverter system. So we have solar power, batteries, and inverter, which is just connected to the power system of that particular lab. Now, so what here we are interested more in is monitoring the data. So how much energy is being generated? So here, if you see on the x-axis, the first April to 30th April. So the x-axis is the dates. So this is for the year of 2019 April. Each day, how many kilowatt hours are generated? So typically, the thumb rule is in the summer months, 1 kilowatt generates 5 kilowatt hours. So it is like into 5 if you do. That is a rough this thing. So if you have 5 kilowatt, then 5 into 5, 25 units are supposed to be generated. More or less, on an average, you can see 26, 27 like this. The power generation is coming. So this is a simple monitoring system whether we are able to generate the power or not. Certain days, for example, the 11th April, only 9 units got generated. Only 9 units. Why it is? What is the reason? So then, if we go for further examination, uh, see on 10th April and 11th April, this is earlier we had 1 bar for the entire day, but now this is a daily supply curve or generation curve. So you can see 5 kilowatt plant, the maximum goes up to 4 kilowatt here, and then it comes down. So which is expected actually. If you install 5 kilowatt panels, the maximum generation goes up to 80% like that. Now, what happened on 11th April? Probably maybe a lot of clouds are there. Because of that, the power curve is not uniform, and therefore the energy generated is less. So this is the basic this thing. So with that, I stop this first part, that is just solar plant monitoring. This is not very complicated. This people know about this. Now, yeah. So any questions up till here?
No, sir, we can proceed.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody was asking a question, but then the audio was not clear. So my request is, if such question is there, if there is any chat window kind of thing, you can submit your question. So
Yes, sir. What we are doing, we have formed a WhatsApp group of all the participants. There is some issue with chat box.
okay,
So we are taking the
okay,
questions in that WhatsApp
okay,
group, and we will answer the
okay.
address the queries.
So then feel free to stop me anytime. See,
Yes.
I'm presenting. Suddenly, if there is a question, feel free to stop me, and then
Yes.
we can do.
Yes.
So for now, I'll continue with the building energy. See,
Okay, sir.
monitoring the solar side is fine. Now monitoring the demand side, that is a building. So that topic now I'm covering called building energy monitoring system. So this is the block diagram of the building energy monitoring system. The hardware part, if you see, there is main electricity supply here. Now, from the main supply, power comes to the distribution panel. The distribution panel gives the substation, and individual floors, individual parts of the building receive separate power supply. Now, in the distribution panel, there will be a main meter as well as there will be submeters. Sometimes the submeters will be present, sometimes the submeter will be absent. In the building that you are seeing is the actual building in our IIT Hyderabad campus. In this building, submit available because the building finished construction 2015, so it's a new building. So there is a submitters available. So simply what we have done, we have done the Modbus looping of all meters, and then there is an RS485 to USB converter. So you can, this is for conversion. Then there is a master controller, which is Raspberry Pi IoT module. So many of you might have heard about this IoT modules like that. Now, with this simple setup, there is a small software program written in the Raspberry Pi. That program will communicate the meters, and the meters will respond by the values. What are the ratings and all that. So then the meter readings are stored in the master controller, and using Wi-Fi or using any other communication, the data can be transported to a central server, and at the server the website can be developed, and the data can be visualized. So this is a simple block diagram of the building monitoring system. I'll show some pictures. So this is academic block A panel room, and in the panel room we can see the panels are like this. And if you see here, there are meters are available. Here the power is being distributed to different parts. Now this is a more detail. This is the backside of the digital meter, where there is a two ports, D plus and D minus. That is for the data connectivity. So the communication terminals we connected to them using this RS485 USB converter, using Raspberry Pi module, and using a Wi-Fi device. We are able to, using this combination of these three, we are able to extract the data from the meter. Now, this is again a little bit of detail. See, on the top you find a three-phase, four-wire system, RYB phase wires and a neutral wire. So these three are current coils which are going to S1, S2, S1, S2, S1, S2 like that. And these three are potential coils, and then
Excuse me, sir.
there is a neutral connection. So this is a similar to any power. Yes.
Sir, actually, your slides are not getting changed as well. Your voice is also breaking in between.
Okay. So I am right now on slide number 12. So probably that might be because of
7 number
that
slide.
might be probably because of internet connection. So let me just check it. I may change to a different internet connection.
Sir, is there a mobile working there, sir, along with the system? If it is, please mute it, sir.
No, I disconnected from my mobile.
Okay, sir.
Hello. Yeah, I just rejoined into this.
Sir, we have made you presenter.
Okay. And I'm starting to share. Yeah. So I'm on slide number 12. So shall I continue from here? So these were the previous slides. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your screen is
Yeah,
visible.
yeah.
You are
Yeah, so this is the metering panel, and this is the connections. And here there is a D plus and D minus terminal for extracting data from the meter. If such a meter is available, definitely we can extract the data from that meter. And the output will look something like this. In a tabular form, we are able to visualize the real-time data. In fact, let me now open a website. So this you can also try at your end. Simply go for cems.iith.ac.in. So campus energy monitoring system, cems.iith.ac.in. You can open it in any system. So then you can see the website, and the same presentation is also available there. So if you go down, there is a page for real-time data. So are you able to see my screen again, with the real-time data screen with two
yes,
tables?
sir. Yes, sir.
So now if you look at the time,
Yes,
3rd September, 11:03 a.m. So this is actually the real-time data. Now, total power consumption of the building, 225 kilowatts as of now. So we can see the real-time power consumption. Now, if I go down, you can see the different numbers. So for example, ground floor, 13.44 kilowatt, something like this. So let me just zoom in a little bit. So are you able to see these numbers now? So these are actually the readings as of now, the power consumption readings. So if I further go down, I can also see the load curve of the building. So this is the x-axis is the last 10 hours time. In last 10 hours, what is the load in kilowatts? So you can see for that particular building. Not only that, individual meters also we can monitor. So for example, I am opening a meter data of our HVAC system. Just give it a minute for the data to load. So right now you might be seeing a blank table. Just it will be loading. Yeah. So now you can see the meter name is 101, which refers to our heating, ventilation, air conditioning system. And right now the time is 11:03, and block A meter location, R phase voltage, Y phase voltage, B phase voltage, average voltage. Then the currents in R phase, Y phase, and B phase, average current, and the power in kilowatts of all these three. Total power is 37.19 kilowatt frequency right now, and the total cumulative energy values. So like this, you can get the data in real time from the meter. So like this, we can monitor. So I'll continue. So what is the benefit of this? We can make a load curve. So most of the time, the load curve itself is very difficult to get it. But by monitoring every 1 minute, you can plot the load curve like this. This is the load curve from 2nd April 2019 to 9th April 2019. And you can see the daily pattern. So there is a morning off peak, then peak in the afternoon and evening, and then again in the night it is reduced. So we can see the daily pattern. So this is the load curve. Similarly, particular meter again we can notice, and then so here is a three-phase meter. So we can notice that only this is for the entire 1 month. Only one particular phase is getting overloaded. Other phases are not getting overloaded. So that is one example here. Further, if we go down, we can do a lot of analytics on this. That is under voltage alerts, power failure alerts, excessive consumption at circuit level, panel level, and then crossing the EMD and energy leakages. So all these things we can find out. Automatic email and SMS alerts, weekly reports, monthly reports, like that we can generate. And in the analysis part, we can do energy consumption for each floor, normalized consumption, that means per SFT how much kilowatts. So like that we can do, and benchmarking of one department power with the other department, and benchmarking comparing with green building practices. So and then forecasting of load and weekly and holiday consumption. So comparison of average with the peak, and then health condition of critical equipment, billing calculation, accountability of diesel consumption. So many things can be done first if you collect the data. So this is the website. So I again invite all of you to go to this website, and you can see the details there. And if you go scroll further down, you can also see real-time data related things. So this is about the part 2 of my presentation, that is building energy monitoring system. Okay. So now, before I move forward, I would like to pause for a minute. Any questions until now? I'd like to get that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what system you have used for the collection of the data?
Okay, for the collection of the data, this is the system. So I'm on slide number 9. This is a block diagram. So there is a distribution panel at the down with it has a submeter. Then on the top there is a Modbus converter, and then a master controller. These two combination will be able to read the data. The data comes to the master controller in the form of a like a text file that we are exporting to a server, and from there we are developing a website. So these are the pictures. This is how the meter looks like, and then this is how the backside of the meter, and these are the some of these things. So one Raspberry Pi module, IoT module, can extract data from more than 100 meters. So if all the meters are located in the ground floor of that particular building, so I can take the data from all the meters. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, sir.
We also have one paper, I will show you that later. In that paper, we are given exactly how this data can be extracted. Yeah, I can show that while in the presentation. Yeah. So any further questions on this?
As of now, there is no question, sir. We can continue.
Okay. So now let me go to the third part. See, we are monitoring a single solar panel, that is fine. Then we are monitoring a one building, that is fine. But in any campus, there may be 10 buildings or 20 buildings. Now, instead of being satisfied just monitoring one building, why not monitor the entire campus? So that was the idea. So the same concept with multiple data extraction units across the campus we deployed, and we are able to get parallelly data from the entire campus. Now, in slide 20, if you look at typically what kind of levels of metering it is called. So at the top left corner here, you can see a grid supply. So the main grid supply comes into the campus. There will be a one main meter, this green box. Here, the main meter, the data is recorded. And based on this, the billing is done. So typically, this meter is provided by the electricity board, like Maharashtra Electricity Board or somebody. Now coming here, incoming substation you have. Now at the incoming substation, there may be a diesel generator connected. Under that, there may be multiple substations. So, these multiple substations, under them, there will be buildings. Under the building, there will be floors, and under the floors, there will be rooms. Like that, there is a different hierarchy. Now, all these green boxes are the metering points. Depending on your choice of metering points, if you are going for the room, then it is a smart room. If you are going for a building, then it's a building monitoring. Then if you are going for a substation, then it is a campus monitoring system. So the more you monitor, the more broader coverage you can get it. Now coming to our IIT Hyderabad campus. So this is a Google Map image of the campus you can see, wherein on the top right corner, there is a dining hall and student hostel blocks. Then in the middle of the screen, there is a academic block A, academic block B, and academic block C. And then at the lower corner, we are having a the chiller plant. And at the upper left corner, actually the Google Map not updated. Right now we are having a solar PV station here, 1 megawatt solar plant also we have. So now this is just marking the items here. So this is a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area. So there is a academic block A, B, C, 3 buildings, girls hostels, boys hostels, chiller plant, and so on. So this is a small microgrid of the IIT Hyderabad campus. The same thing I'm just showing in the form of a neat block diagram. Internally, we have a 11 kV network, and the 11 kV network consists of this diesel generators 2 into 2 MVA and a PV plant 950 kilowatt. So these three are the supplies. Coming down, there is a faculty housing, staff housing, hostels, radiant cooling, then water treatment, sewage treatment, pumping, chiller plant, and academic blocks. So these are all some of the 11 kV electrical substations which are spread across the campus. And the values that you are seeing are the peak demand values. Now, if I go down, yeah, so any question?
No, sir, please continue.
Yeah, so now again, this is one more map location. So this yellow line is the border of our campus. So 576 acres campus, we have close to 2,800 students now, but right now students are going for online teaching. So only very few students, senior research students and all are present on campus. Anyway, so that is going to change later. Now our peak demand is about 2.3 megawatt, and our solar capacity about 1 megawatt solar capacity, daily solar generation. So this is some of the general information about the overall campus. So now, after deploying the similar system at all the 11 kV substations, now we are getting some interesting observations from the campus. The first one is the inauguration of a 1 megawatt solar plant. So April 16th was the date of inauguration. That is in 2019, last year. Then 1 megawatt means close to 5,000 kilowatt hours. The generation is happening, and in the last week of May, there was a cable damage. So that's why 1 week gap is there. So again, the damage is cleared, and then again, the energy started generating. So this is the solar power generation bar chart. Now, similar information, now what we want to do is the total demand of IIT Hyderabad versus the solar generation. That's what you can see here. This is again, entire month of April of 2019. 1st April to 30 April. First, we have a load curve. So the gray one is the load, and the orange one is the solar generation. So as I said, April 16th, we started the solar plant, and then after since then the solar plant is operating. So anytime you notice the peak demand touches almost up to 2 megawatts, the peak demand, whereas the solar peak is about 800 or 700 kilowatts. And all the time our demand is more than the solar generation. So there is no problem of reverse power, but this is just for our comparison. Now, if I move forward, this is similar plot for the month of May. So the dark blue lines, they are the total demand of our campus, whereas the orange lines are the solar generation. So if I calculate the area under the curve, then I can also find out what percentage of our energy consumption is coming from the solar, and that is coming about 10%, like that. Now here we can also, since we have a solar plant, we can also get the data and then find the effect of rains. So this is 24th of June 2019. So slowly the morning 6 o'clock, the power started increasing and reached up to 860 kilowatts at 11:25. Then within a matter of half an hour, from 860 kilowatt, the power fell down to only 72 kilowatt. That is because of the rain. So whenever there is a rain, suddenly the power output reduces. And then again it increased, again it reduced, like that. So this is again comparison of the solar energy versus the demand from the grid. So here again you can see the area wise, this is about 9.7 to 10%. So 10% of our energy we are meeting from the solar plant. So obviously there is a what you call a need for going for a larger capacity of solar plants. Some more observations. See, right now I'm not doing any high level mathematical calculations, data analytics like this. This is simple observations, just simple plots of energy consumption. That itself is very interesting. So this is the data of again 2019. So just at the end of the April month, exams are completed. Then the boys hostel, all the people left. So suddenly the load has reduced. So normally 18,000 units used to consume. Now it is reduced to only 4,000 or 6,000 units being consumed. Similarly, in the month of April, again for the girls hostel also similar pattern we can see. Now this is faculty housing. In the faculty housing, we see that load is increasing because during the summer vacations, faculties will be moving to the campus. So therefore, the residential load will increase. Now this is for the 2020. So this is the impact of lockdown on campus. So 100 days energy consumption of our academic block. So in the academic block of IIT Hyderabad, so we are having a central AC system. We are having our central server, the computer center is there. Lot of labs are there which require 24-hour power supply and so on. So only thing is the classes are cancelled, and therefore because of that, normally the daily energy will be in the range of 6,500 kilowatt hours for that particular building. It now reduced to 4,500 kilowatt hours because of the lockdown, because all these classes activity stopped. It's not completely, it did not become zero because of the data center and some lab equipments which are running 24 hours. So similarly, this is a hostel. So if you notice, this is March 19th, 2020, March 20, March 21, so on. So there itself our load started reducing. So what happened is when the lockdown was announced on 23rd, 24th March, even before the announcement of lockdown, 2-3 days back, we got a message from our local, like the collector of our district, that you need to vacate the hostels. So within 1 day, 2 days, we vacated all the hostels. And once the students reached their homes, only after that the lockdown was announced. So otherwise it would have created a lot of problems. But anyway, so normally the load used to be 7,500 units. It suddenly reduced to 1,200 units. So sudden reduction in the power consumption. This is again for the month of March, April of 2020. So like this, so many analysis you can do by collecting the campus data. So similarly, this is a duck curve. Duck curve means the impact of solar on your total load. That is shown in the duck curve. So that is about the campus energy monitoring. So now before going to multi-campus, again, I would like to pause for a minute. Any questions, any doubts you are having up to here?
Sir, we would like to understand about any stability issues specifically you are facing at your campus.
Okay. So the question is about stability issues. See, most of the time, the data that we are collecting in our system, we are collecting with the duration of 1 minute, okay, or sometimes even 5 minutes data. So mostly we are interested in energy monitoring, but the stability related problems we are not connecting because it requires more high frequency. Over matter of seconds, we have to collect the data. So right now that we are not doing. So now coming to stability problems, most of the time, whenever there's a stability issue and all, the frequency stability anyway is not in under our control because that the capacity wise our campus is small. Whereas voltage stability, that kind of things, we can detect, we can make some alerts and we can inform. Similarly, when there is any power failure, within 1 minute of power failure, we can send SMS alerts. So this kind of things we are not doing, not in terms of transient stability or system stability kind of studies, but more in terms of detection of outage. So somewhere if there is a transformer has overloaded and tripped, so immediately within 1 minute, the concerned department, they get the SMS alert. So such kind of things we have implemented. Hope that answers the
Okay,
question.
sir.
Sir, one
Yeah,
question is
sir,
there.
and is there any
Yes, sir.
revenue
Sir, one
generation you are
question.
getting?
Okay, the question is about revenue generation. Now, as I mentioned, most of the time our demand is more than the supply. So whatever we generate, that is locally consumed, and we are not sending any reverse power to the grid. So therefore, there is a net meter is there, everything is there, but we are not on the net because it's a residential campus and all. So there is no reverse power, so no revenue generation. But we are making a lot of saving in our electricity bill because whatever 10% of energy we are locally generating, so that is like free of cost. So we are saving on the electricity bill. Yeah.
Sir, one more question. When we are
Yes.
connecting more number of buildings,
Yeah.
that means is there any IoT related issue which we'll have to face?
Yes. So when we went for more number of buildings, so for example, here you can see this is a area spread across 500 acres. So and there are 10 substations. So these substations are located far away from the buildings. Their substations are little bit away, and there was no Wi-Fi signal and all to get the data. So in such cases, what we have done, we went for a like a Wi-Fi dongle. So you can see on the screen right now, there is a Wi-Fi Geo or any Airtel or Geo, that kind of Wi-Fi dongle. So there will be a combination of Raspberry Pi module for data collection and a Wi-Fi device with a SIM card and all. Now every month you have to recharge the SIM card, and through mobile network, 3G, 4G network, the data is transmitted. So this is the problem we are facing. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, we can continue. As of now, there is no.
Okay, so okay, so maybe I'll just go to the last part. That is the multi campus. So then we thought, see, already we did solar plant monitoring, then building level, then campus level. Then why to be satisfied only with one campus? Why not go for multiple campuses? So then we started, since I studied in my BTech college, so I contacted them. Their HOD was our sir. So I asked them, "Are you interested?" Then I gave this presentation. Then they were interested. Similarly, my PhD student went to his hometown. Then he went to his college, and then they to that college management they presented. So as and when slowly this thing became, the campuses were interested, and everybody said that we are also interested. We would like to install this in our system. So then we help the campuses. So as that it has grown. So, but most of the time it is within our Telangana and Andhra states. So nearby colleges and also a little bit for colleges, we have installed this kind of system. So what basically we do is we just make a visit and then look at the distribution panel, and then the materials list we can provide, and we ask the institute only to provide to purchase the materials on their this thing. Now connections and then software part we are providing for free, the guidance of how to connect and then the software. So with these things, so this is some of the example, like some of the colleges in our this thing. So that's why every time when I make this kind of campus monitoring presentation to any campus, I also request, if that particular campus also interested in this kind of project to be done. It is very easy since last 1 year we are doing this, so a lot of the issues we have solved. And I want to go for more than 25 campuses in next 1 year. Right now we are about 10 campuses. So if your campus or any campus that are interested in this installing this kind of energy monitoring, definitely we can work with you. So why to go for multi-campus? First is the renewable energy sources are added at various campuses to reduce the electricity bill and for self dependence. Then every campus has a unique pattern. So we'd like to understand what is the pattern of different campuses. And finally, CEMS, that is campus energy monitoring, is definitely the first step. Before you do anything, first you need to monitor what is your load curve, what time is your peak is coming, what time off peak is coming, etc. like that. So, and we work with the interested campuses to setting up. So some examples I will show. These are some of the campuses. So this is a campus in Guntur city of Andhra Pradesh. On the screen, like right side part is the engineering college, and the left side part they have a school. So it is a school and a college. Both are run up by the same management. We can also see the solar panels also in this. On the top of these buildings, you can see this. These all lines. These are all solar panels. So total 300 kilowatts of solar panels are available. So there is a load is there, then there is a solar panels are there, then there is a consumption, hostels are there, classrooms are there. So it's a very good microgrid kind of scenario. So where we can install. So this is a single line diagram. There is a 11 kV bus bar, then energy meter. Then there is a changeover switch. When the power switches from the grid, then they change over to the local generator, and they change over back when the grid comes. Then there is a solar power generation, and then these are all the different meters. So we are given IDs, meter number 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So then on the right picture, you can see this is the old panel. This is almost 25 to 30 years old panel. Immediately you can see there are no meters. They are just distribution switches are there, but there are no meters. So that's why we had retrofitted with the metering block. So on the left side, we can see there are 6 meters here and 1 more meter here. After retrofitting with meters, then we are able to extract the data. The lower part is for the IoT module. The upper part is for the metering module. So this box we installed there. So as a result, we are getting the data. Now you can see backside of the meter looks like this. So same the regular meter connections, 3-phase currents, 3-phase voltages, and then neutral. And on the right, we can see the metering panel. One interesting thing that they have done, this work actually we are not done, their students have done, is that given a website and a QR code. So any visitor coming to that meter, they can scan the QR code, then directly it will take to the website where that particular meter historical data will be displayed. So this is again one project. So a daily email can be generated like this. So this is a daily energy consumption report. So here we can see total consumption 358 kilowatt hour, academic block 66 kilowatt, hostel block 262. Like this, you can generate a daily consumption report. So this the students participated in one IET competition with this particular energy monitoring, and then they won the second prize. Actually, they had only 1 month time just the moment we worked with them, within 1 month they participated in this. So otherwise they would have got first prize also. But anyway, this is the thing. Then another campus, GNITS. So again, you can see the building, the campus buildings are here. And on top of the campus buildings, again, you can see there are panels fitted on all of this. So total installed capacity of 160 kilowatt they are having. Then this is a single line diagram. The grid supply coming to the main incoming. And then from there, the supply goes to different parts. And there is a local generator also is there. And these numbers are given for their meters. And then we are getting the data. So these are actual photographs of the meters. Again, you can see there are no panel meters in their panels. So this again, we given the list of materials and they developed a metering panel like this. So in one wooden panel, they installed all the meters, and at the back side of the panel, the electrical connections are made with the distribution panel. And the top of this, you can see one small box here. So that is the IoT device using which the data of all these things is being collected. So again, the output will be generated like this. So here you can see email report of the energy consumption. Okay. So for example, this GNITS is the college name, daily energy consumption report. So this is 15th of April. So right in the middle of the lockdown, 15th of April to 2020, you can see very less amount of energy being consumed. So for example, the entire electrical department, EC department, computer science department together only 19 kilowatt hour, and the generator bypass only 38 kilowatt hours. Very below 100 is the consumption. Otherwise, if you go back to February, so this is February 11th, 2020, the earlier one. In February 11th, again you can see the 710 kilowatt of energy is consumed. So huge energy consumed before the lockdown, and during the lockdown suddenly energy has reduced. So like this you can generate daily reports. In fact, right now also automatically every day the college management receives this report based on the meters that are installed. So now Usmania University College of Engineering, this is in Hyderabad. This is the college where I studied my BTech. So this is my own college, so there I went. And this is the electrical engineer there who have installed a metering system like this. So here they monitored only the electrical department building. So there is a 1 meter for power system lab, 1 meter for AC lab, 1 meter for computer science lab, and lighting and new lighting, and the DC machines lab. So different machines labs are there and their meters are there. So again, this is one more campus. So I'll just, for the interest of time, I'll slowly move forward like this. So then there is another campus, BVRIT Narsapur. So this is also similar campus map. And here what they have done slightly differently is that they've done first, before installing entire campus, they've done a single meter prototype development. So the students visited the IIT Hyderabad campus with a spare parts, and then we helped them connecting the meters and develop a small prototype. So here the idea is that there is a box with the lights. So you can see here 3 lights are there on a single box, and there is one energy meter inside that. So when you switch on the switches, the lights load will vary and the data will vary in the meter, and that data is extracted and displayed on the computer. So the moment you change the switches, the lights will change, and the data on the computer screen also will change. So this is a project of data extraction from the meter. So with just a one project, one single this thing. So this is again one more campus. Again, you can see on the left there is a metering panel. 9 meters have been installed, and like this. So I'll conclude by saying what are the core principles. So first thing is this campus energy monitoring thing. This is a not-for-profit kind of research work. I'm just trying to, like the software, I'm not charging anything. Whereas the hardware metering cost and all that, if you bear, then we can help you in installing this campus monitoring in your campus. It is not a finished product. Just we started working only 1 year back. So many modules still have to be developed. So much more work is there. So the idea is work in parallel. So if your campus students develop some module that can be shared with other campuses, and over a period of time, we can build it into a complete system. Idea is to build a research community, develop research skills, and lowering the cost of technology. So again, India is more famous for this. Any technology that is there, we can develop it in a much lesser cost. So coming to the third line, this third line is more suitable for the faculty. See, working with this kind of real-time monitoring project, that will help you in career growth, and it will gain recognition for your institute, and you can get a quality publication. So what happens if you collect the data from your campus, and using that data, if you write papers, then by default it is the original contribution, because it's a you're doing analysis on your original data. So definitely the quality publications will come easy to get accepted and all. And the last line is for the management. So the management of the campus, they are interested, they can invest and grow, they can save on electricity bill, and also they can spread awareness about this kind of technologies. So this part I will skip. At this stage, I would like again you to go back to this website, that is Campus Energy Monitoring website. So the homepage of the website looks like this. So and the same presentation I have also provided in that website. So then the list of campuses, everything is there. So what I would like to mention is there is a button here, yellow color button, get CEMS to my campus. So if you or any other interested persons, if you want to get in touch with IIT Hyderabad about this, then you can just click this link, and you can specify your details, just basic details, name, designation, email ID, and campus and address. We will get back to you, and from there we can further discuss how to install this. So any questions on this? So
No,
some
sir.
papers are also available, so you can see these papers links are available, so you can check these papers also. Yeah. Yeah. So I pause here. Yeah.
Is this scheme is available only in the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh state or in other states?
So thanks for this Corona pandemic. Now, because all HTTP programs are going online, so I'm getting invitation from other states also for providing HTTP. So otherwise, I used to visit physically to the campus. So that's why nearby campuses only installed. Now you are in Nasik, right? Nasik, this thing. So so if you have internet connection, definitely we can install this campus energy monitoring. So yeah, so if you're interested, do contact us. We will be able to help you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
See, I would like to maybe get a sense, in your campus, what is the situation? Do you have solar panels installed in your campus, and what kind of generation you are having? Any
Yes, sir. We
information?
have a solar panel generation at our institute. Okay, and
Okay.
supply from the Maharashtra State Electricity Board. Okay.
Okay.
Is available, and diesel generator is also available. Suppose there is a suddenly shutdown, diesel generator will start within a few minute, within a 1
Okay.
minute. That is
Okay.
that backup is also available.
Okay. But then are you doing any kind of this kind of monitoring, building level or
No, sir. Still, we are not doing any monitoring.
and any issues you are facing with respect to the in general,
Yeah, in general, we are facing the
for the entire
unbalancing
camp?
issue.
Okay. Unbalancing issue. So because we are able to, I can show you one example. Because we are able to get the data across different phases, so we can do this unbalanced study also. So I'll show you. Okay, so this is so I would like to show live data for you. So that's why I'm just trying to open some of the relevant these things. So we are able to collect all the three-phase parameters. So for example, if in this, if you see, meter name is 41. This is in the fourth floor, one of the meter. So voltage, you can see voltages are more or less same, 230, 230, about 230. So voltage wise, there's no problem. But if you see current, 9 amperes in R phase, 6 amperes in Y phase, and 16 amperes in the B phase. So immediately you can see the B phase is heavily loaded. So there is an unbalance on this particular this thing. In fact, if you can see 1.7 kilowatt in R phase, 2.2 kilowatt in Y phase, and 2.2 kilowatt. I think this is some, yeah, so 2.2. So total 6.2. So I think just as we speak, the data got updated. So now again 11 amperes and 10 amperes. So I hope you also notice the change. So this data is updating every minute, live data. So right now the unbalance is gone right now, little bit less. Yeah, so using collection of this data, you can tell. So the problem with unbalance is uh, at certain times R phase will be overloaded. Some other time Y phase will be overloaded. Some other time B phase will be overloaded. So you don't know which phase is overloaded at which time. So that is another problem. Yeah. So using this kind of thing, you can address that. Yeah. So any other question?
There is one more question from the Sanjay Kumar Nayak, sir, who is from the L&T.
Okay.
So what is the percentage loss in the generation observed due to dust deposition on the panel? Is there any module cleaning arrangement used?
Okay, so before I answer the question, so I should thank the L&T because in our campus, the construction done by L&T and the meters, right now we are having the L&T Nova meters, and using these meters only we are extracting the data. So thanks to L&T for providing the meters. In fact, when any campus contacts us, we want to implement this particular this thing. So we are recommending, since we are, of course, there may be other company meters also. But since we started using L&T meters, we are recommending, you purchase this model meter so that it is this thing. So that is the first part, Now coming to the question, now in order to do that, what we have to do is basically monitor the solar generation over a period of time. So uh, so right now, this data is just pertains to only a small 5 kilowatt plant. In the 1 megawatt solar plant in our campus, there is a contract, for monitoring and this maintenance. This one, they use sprinkler systems and they clean it from time to time. So they have a small water tank and using similar to sprinklers that we put on grass watering. Similar sprinklers they kept on top of the panel, and from time to time they release water and it will be cleaned that way. And yes, so by collecting the data, like before rain and after rain, you can see the power, you can compare and increase. So there will be at least 5 to 10% variation because of the dust.
Sir, I think the AI will be very much useful for analysis of monitoring data, and accordingly, the machines can be communicated so that such technical problems can be solved. I think is it correct, sir?
Yeah. So basically collecting the data and then analyzing the data. And see, for analysis of data, collection of data is one big exercise. But once you collect the data, different types of analysis are possible. So what one can do is like there can be one project for campus energy data collection, but there could be 10 different projects. So one group of students can work on unbalance. Another group can work on power factor correction. Another group can work on loss reduction, so on like that. So much this will give rise to so many other studies.
Yes, sir. There is no other questions from the panel now.
Okay. Yeah. So do we have some more time?
Sir, yes, sir. We have a time.
Okay. So see, so far I've just shown only the what you call simple analysis, but little bit more work can be done. That in terms of data analytics, so maybe I can just show one slide on this. So yeah. Just give a minute for the file to open. So yeah, so again, I would like to show one big poster. This poster we presented in one of this thing. So this is a work of one MTech student. So the title is, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So 100 days of demand characterization. Okay. So in this 100 days of demand characterization, 1st June to 8th September of 2019, we have taken 100 days. So entire June month, July month, August month, 3 months, about 90 days and about 8 days in the September. So that is 100 days. So this is the building. This is the actual building that we are talking about, the first one. And for that building, this is the system, the data collection system. So first I would like to show is this heat map. So for the entire 100 days, the total consumption is 6,39,519 units that you can see on the total in the right. That means if you divide by 100, you'll get an average daily consumption, which is about 6,300 or 6,400 units. So that is the total consumption in that particular building. Now I'm interested, out of 100%, how much percentage is consumed where? So immediately you can see heating, ventilation, air conditioning system taking 12% of energy. Now 6% is taking for the ventilation system. So basically total HVAC system 12 plus 6, about 18 to 19% is taken by that air conditioning only. Then the data center. So as I mentioned in that main academic block, we are having our main servers and data center, computer center and all. So that is taking 19% of the total energy consumption. Then different floors, ground floor, first floor, second floor, like that. Different floors, different labs are there, classrooms are there. So most of the time it is like, less than 1%. So not much of the power is consumed by other places, but ideally we can identify HVAC and the data center. Now, why it is important? It is important now if I want to go for reduction of bill, savings in electricity, I need not worry about the various other parts of the building. I'll mainly focus on data center and HVAC. Thereby temperature control and things like that, I can reduce the electricity bill. So even if I reduce 1,000 units per day, so 1,000 into, even if you take 8 rupees, 8,000 rupees per day will be reduced. And that way go to 2.5 lakhs per month, and almost it goes to 25-30 lakhs per year. So which is a huge saving in the this thing. Now, if I go down, so this is the 100 days load curve. So immediately you can see weekly pattern, that red color line that you see, the daily pattern you can see, weekly pattern you can see, and this is the 100 days load curve. Then the 100 days load duration curve that is there in the second one. This is the difference between load curve and load duration is load curve is the time versus power, whereas load duration curve is the duration of this power versus the power. So in other words, so for example, if you see on this, you can see 2,400. That means 24 into 100 days, 24,000, 2,400 hours. So here the value is not zero. This is 100 kilowatt. So 100 kilowatt definitely is there for entire 24 hours. So that is a base load, we can say. Like that, we can say what is the peak load? Peak load is 400 kilowatt. That means for a duration of about few hours, 100 hours like that. Then we can do some clustering, k-means clustering. So if you see this machine learning and data analytics, that kind of thing, one of the topics is the clustering of the data. So here what we have done, we have taken individual meters, and for each meter, we have done clustering of data. So I will show you some examples which are interesting in this. So here, if you notice, so now what you are seeing on the screen, this is the x-axis is the 24 hours, 0 to 24 hours, and y-axis is the load of the HVAC system. Now the load jumps from 0 to 60 and again jumps back from 60 to 0. That is in the morning time around 8 a.m. like that, they switch on the AC system, then the central AC, then the load goes from 0 to 60 kilowatt. Then in the evening they switch off, then again it comes back to 0 kilowatt. This is a switch on and switch off. But there is a schedule. Now, is it properly schedule is properly maintained or not? So that we can see. So on the right side, if you see, the purple color indicates the holidays. So June 1st and June 2nd, Saturday, Sunday, like that. So on holidays and weekends, the AC should be switched on at 10 o'clock and switched off by 5 o'clock. So that's what we can confirm here. So similarly, on the during summer, the switch on is little early and switch off is little late. And then in the month of August, when slowly the summer has reduced, so the switch off time has changed. So like this, we can cluster the data, which days it is normal operation, which days it is abnormal operation, we can identify. So like this, we can do some data analytics. So similarly, I'll give one more example. So this is the example of data center. So again, you notice that the data center constant power is there for 24 hours. So all the time the load is between 50 to 55 kilowatt hours. But on certain days, the 10 kilowatt is reduced, and then again 10 kilowatt is increased. So this may be for whenever there is a load is less, they are able to do some saving. So again, such things we can notice here. So one final example I will show from this one. So here you can notice that this is a third floor east wing plug load. That is a description of the meter. And what you can notice here is what is a typical load curve. The typical load curve is the load is between around 10 to 15. So you can see the green color line and this orange color line. The load is between 10 kilowatt to 15 kilowatt throughout the 24 hours. But suddenly the load jumps to 20 kilowatt to 25 kilowatt for certain days. Now, which days? If you look at again the calendar part here, July 5th to July 13th, only on those days, mysteriously the load shift, increased by about 15 kilowatt towards the 24 hours. Then after that, again, the load became normal pattern. So again, in the month of August 21 to August 29, again, there is a switch increase in the load. And so here we can investigate, after making this kind of cluster plotting, we can investigate why there is a sudden increase in the load. Where was it consumed? Where did it go? So we can do some kind of analysis like that. Yeah. So any questions on this? So just now, whatever
No,
I
sir.
have shown, this is okay. So yeah, so if more or less I'm kind of I thought of explaining this part, and one more this data analytics part also I've explained. So I would like to maybe spend some more time with final discussion. Then we can conclude also after that. Is that all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is all.
Yeah.
Sir,
So
would like to hear you that you are also presented some work in the ISGF conference. Okay, Indian
Okay.
Smart Grid Forum. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what will be the state? What will the Indian Smart Grid Forum is doing for enhancing this type of activity in India? What type of work they are doing?
So India Smart Grid Forum, actually, I am closely associated with ISGF. I finished my PhD from IIT Bombay actually in 2012. So immediately after my PhD is over, actually I joined ISGF as a research officer, and about 6 months I worked in Delhi. ISGF office is in Delhi, and ISGF is kind of a consortium, a group of industry and utilities. I would like to take this time to show their excellent website actually. So you simply type ISGF in their website and then go to this ISGF. So this is called India Smart Grid Knowledge Portal. So I hope you are able to see this. Are you able to see this website, ISGF, India Smart Grid Knowledge Portal?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir. We are able.
first interesting thing you can see is down there is a news. So from India, what is the news? From the world, what is the news? Each and every news item related to smart grids, anywhere in India or in the world, they will keep a small write-up on that. So this is very useful for regularly getting updated. So for example, these are all updates from this. So for example, here, India, this is a news item. Indian Railways set up solar power plant in Madhya Pradesh to run trains. So this is about a news article. Then if you again click, it will go to the main article also. So this is, and then there are so many resources. See, for example, Smart Grid Handbook. This is a detailed handbook, Smart Grid Handbook. More than 400 pages is there. Everything is there in that. Then standards, white papers, presentations, professional database, and so on like that. Then these are all ISUW, India Smart Utility Week. So since 2015, they are doing every March month, they are doing an event. So that details are there. It's an online training, advisory, capacity building. So a lot of online training related webinars, all that you can find here. National Smart Grid Mission, and then about the organization of ISGF. So about media membership and all. So you can actually become a member also in this. Another important thing I would like to show is this Smart Grid Bulletin. So if you click here, so it will open the Smart Grid Bulletin page, and then every month they release a Smart Grid Bulletin. So right now, I think the latest one is May month. So maybe a little bit delayed due to Corona. But May, April, March, like that, if you keep on going, so right from 2014, January, 2014 onwards to 2020, 6 years, each 6 into 12, about more than 70. So 77 reports are available. So huge amount of information is available on Smart Grid. So as a sample, I will open, let's open the January 2020. So if you open that January 2020, you will get a 12 page, 12 to 15 page monthly bulletin, and it has everything, news, national news, international news, everything will be there in that. So I strongly recommend people to join, to go to this India Smart Grid Forum website, and you can register every month. It's a free, no cost for this. So you can see. So first is solar rooftop revolution in India. There is some article. Then if you go down, you can find updates, policy, regulation, and standards. So from India, Delhi Cabinet appears electric vehicle policy. So like that, so many, at least 10 to 15 updates will be there in India, and 10 to 15 updates in US or abroad. Then technology updates. So again, different technology updates. So one paragraph, in short, you will get a lot of information. So I think I'll stop here instead of further explaining about ISGF. So yeah. So does that answer your question regarding ISGF? It's a very useful source.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, one more question is that Can you elaborate some open research area in this energy management systems and smart grid related, so that the participants will get their research area to work on this?
Okay. So the open research areas. 1 minute. See, it depends on different things. There are several research areas that are open, but it need not be, whatever I am telling, that is the research area. Different people can have different research areas. I'm just waiting to open the file. Just a minute. So what I will do, very briefly, I will explain what are my research areas. So then you can, based on that, you can do that. And for anything, what you can do is uh, whatever is the top 4 or 5 journals. Regularly, if you go and read what kind of papers they are publishing, from that you will get an idea. Okay, so yeah. So can you see this slide now? Whatever I'm presenting. Yeah. So this is a general, my research plan for next 4-5 years. So the first column, the left side one, energy monitoring, energy management, prosumer enablement, demand response, and peer-to-peer energy markets. So these are some of the topics I already started. Then vehicle to grid, AI and machine learning in smart grid, then multi-energy systems. So this multi-energy systems also is a different topic where not only electrical energy, your thermal energy and various other types of energy you are combining. Then what is the perspective? You can look at it from the renewables perspective, power engineering perspective, information technology perspective, economics perspective, Indian context and global context. So you can approach the problem in different research perspectives. Some people may be more interested in economics, or some people may be more interested in power engineering or power electronics or something like that, or some people may be coming from the IT. So these are the perspectives. Now already today I've given this presentation, so that is the last topic, CEMS and AMR at IIT Hyderabad. Whereas this PV, EV and storage, demand characterization, transformer life improvement, these are some of the topics on which some of my students are working. Now, in the future work, I want to go for forecasting, modeling of appliances, smart home, battery degradation, in fact, development of the meter itself, integrated local energy system, community energy system, storage aggregation, smart buildings, blockchain. So these are some of the future topics that are there. But then these are only according to me, but everybody can make a list like this and then try to search papers in that and try to do the work in it. Does that answer your question, research areas?
Yes, sir. It is very useful, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would also like to show one final this thing. I am doing some videos on YouTube also. In fact, I reach more students outside IIT Hyderabad than inside IIT Hyderabad. So kindly search YouTube channel with my name, Pradeep Yamula. You will get my channel. And recently I started a smart grid course in that. So I'm going to make over the month of September 9 videos I'm going to make, and each video will be 1 hour, 1 to 1 hour 15 minutes like that. And the subject is smart grids. So you can do that. So this is just a brief description about my thesis. Apart from that, already DC machines, there is a course, AC machines, power systems, electric circuits, magnetic circuits. I have some made already over last 4-5 years. I made some videos. You can refer to that as a this example. Okay? Yeah. So now whoever are teachers that are there here, so that now it is no longer classroom kind of thing. Even if there is a classroom, definitely you should also have a videos of all your lectures. Over a period of time, people will see that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, there is one more question, because in our session, some students have also joined. They are UG students, and they might look further for post-graduation and PhD. So
Okay.
I would like to request you to please give them some advice regarding they are always in dilemma whether to join a job or to go further with research. What is
Okay.
your advice in that?
I mean, obviously, my advice is to go for higher education, because going for job with only BTech is not good enough. I mean, if I can totally understand, if you are having some kind of immediate requirement, some financial stability, if you want, then immediately maybe after BTech you can go for job. But then don't take that as the final thing. Definitely, in today's world, it's completely going towards knowledge and information. So therefore, definitely you should go for a master's, and if you like, you should also go into research and PhD also. So for that, you need to be aware. uh, MTech is not like BTech. In MTech, you have to focus on a particular research area in mind. You should have your own kind of topics that you are interested, and then accordingly you should do that. Try to update your knowledge. Whatever is there in our syllabus, that is only taking us to a particular level. But then after that, rest of the things, whatever newly developed things, you should learn from various online sources. So many courses are there and all. So learning is continuous process. So I would like to say that give preference to go for higher education, like this, either in this thing. Yeah. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving the such wonderful session to the all of participants. Can I conclude now?
Yeah. So just before that, so I would just like to mention, this is the just 2 days back I have uploaded this. So this is the overview of smart grid. So this is the uh, sample video, like that. So I can like this, similar to what you are attending, like this 9 lectures I'm going to put over a period of next 1 month, all on the subject of smart grid. So you can visit this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. We will share with the students also, and we will staff members. I will share this link with the all participants also.
Yeah. And one final concluding point I want to make is that if you are interested in developing this kind of system, then please go to this website, that is cms.iith.ac.in. And after going to this website, if you go down, you will find this button, Get CEMS to my campus. So go to that and then fill up your details. Then we will communicate to you back on email to see how we can get your campus, this system to your campus.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Shall I conclude now, sir?
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful session. Though there is initial disturbance, but we enjoyed your session very a lot, and we are going to see some real time what is happening in the energy management system. You have developed this wonderful campus energy monitoring system, not only for your institutes, but it helps for other institutes also to develop the monitoring system, and also for the opening research area for the students and for the faculties also. Thank you, sir, for delivering such nice session. On the behalf of Department of Electrical Engineering, KK Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nashik, I would like to thank Dr. Pradeep Kumar Imula, sir, for such wonderful session. And we will visit to the IIT for to see your real work and how this hardware working soon when this pandemic situation is over. Thank you, sir.
Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.